Hollywood didn't wake up to breaking news. Hollywood woke up to a voice note. A raw, shaking, 37-second audio file that insiders swear came directly from Pierre, and the moment his name hit private group chats, everything stopped. Because this wasn't about casting rumors. It wasn't about a quiet breakup. It wasn't about tabloids being messy. This was Aaron finally speaking on what really went down with Teyana Taylor, and the truth is so explosive that multiple people in his own circle allegedly begged him not to let it leak. But it did. And now the industry is scrambling. According to sources who claim to have heard the full recording, Aaron doesn't just describe heartbreak. He describes control. He describes secret meetings that weren't supposed to involve him. He describes messages sent late at night that vanished by morning. And one confrontation so intense, it allegedly ended their relationship on the spot. Here's the part that has fans completely shaken. Aaron claims the public version of their love story was carefully managed, staged smiles, curated sightings, perfectly timed posts, while something very different was happening behind closed doors. Something nobody was allowed to talk about. Something that allegedly made him disappear without warning. But the real shock. The final seconds of the leak don't mention love. They mention consequences. Because right before the audio cuts out, Aaron allegedly says one line that changes everything. They told me if I ever told the truth about what happened that night, I won't work again. And now the one person who stayed silent for months is finally done protecting the story everyone else wanted to tell. The moment the leak detonated across private industry chats, nobody could pretend it was just another rumor anymore, because the voice inside that file belonged to Pierre, and the name buried inside the same recording, repeated in a way that sounded both exhausted and furious, was Teyana Taylor. Not whispered. Not implied. Spoken clearly. Deliberately. According to multiple insiders, who say they were sent the audio minutes before it leaked publicly, Aaron's tone wasn't angry at first. It was careful. Controlled. The kind of voice someone uses when they're still trying to protect people who already stopped protecting them. The recording allegedly opens with a deep breath. Then one sentence. I didn't walk away. I was pushed. That line alone ripped open months of speculation, because for nearly a year, the public narrative had painted Aaron as the mysterious one who vanished without explanation, the quiet actor, who supposedly couldn't handle the intensity of Teyana's world. But inside this audio, he tells a completely different story. He says their relationship didn't collapse. It was dismantled. Systematically. Privately. And with help from people who never appeared in a single photo with them. According to a source who claims to have verified the metadata on the file, the audio was recorded less than 48 hours after a private meeting that neither of them ever acknowledged publicly. A meeting that, until now, no one outside their immediate circles even knew happened. And that's where everything starts to spiral. Because Aaron doesn't begin by talking about romance. He talks about logistics, schedules, restructuring conversations. He says that phrase twice, as if it had already been said to him by someone else. Then he says something that immediately flipped the internet into meltdown mode. There were people in the room who had no reason to be there. He doesn't name them, but he describes them. One legal rep, one publicist. One person he had never met before, but who somehow knew intimate details about his career plans. And according to Aaron, Teyana was already seated when he walked in. Not surprised. Not confused. Prepared. Insiders say that detail is what made the audio feel different from every celebrity breakup story we've ever heard. Because this didn't sound emotional. It sounded operational. Inside the recording, Aaron claims the conversation wasn't about their relationship surviving. It was about how it would end. Cleanly. Quietly. With no unpredictable fallout. He says the word brand more than once. He says the word timing even more. Then his voice tightens. And that's when he drops the line that sent every gossip account into full panic mode. I was told my exit had to protect more than just us. Protect who? That question exploded across social media within minutes of the leak. Because the implication wasn't just about reputations. It was about infrastructure. About other people's projects. Other people's investments. Other people's narratives. And according to Aaron, that was when he realized the relationship had stopped being personal long before he ever thought it had. What makes the leak even more disturbing is what surfaced right after the audio hit the timeline. A private screenshot. Allegedly sent from someone inside his camp. The image shows a short message thread with contact names blurred. But the text itself was chillingly clear. You can't disappear without explanation. You don't get to rewrite the ending. You're not the only one exposed if you talk. Fans immediately noticed something else. The timestamps. They lined up almost perfectly with one of Teyana's most cryptic social posts from months earlier, a photo with no caption, posted at nearly the same minute. The coincidence was too sharp. Too exact. And suddenly, a harmless post turned into a potential signal. Within hours, an anonymous burner account dropped what it claimed was a partial transcript from a second recording. Shorter. Colder. Not Aaron's voice. A different person. The voice allegedly says, he needs to understand how many people benefit from him staying quiet. No names. No introductions. Just authority. And that single sentence poured gasoline on a fire that was already out of control. Inside the leaked Aaron audio, he explains what happened next. He says he tried to slow everything down. Tried to ask questions. Tried to make it about the two of them again. But according to him, every attempt was redirected. Handled. Managed. He describes being told that his public silence would protect everyone. He pauses. Then adds quietly, including her. That line split fans instantly. Some heard empathy. Others heard fear. Because moments later in the recording, Aaron reveals the detail that completely reframes why he disappeared so suddenly. He says a message was sent to him the night after the meeting. Not from Teyana directly. From someone claiming to be acting on behalf of multiple interests. The message, according to his voice in the recording, read, "We can't control how this feels for you. But we can control how it looks." The internet did what it always does. Screenshots flooded timelines. Fans started freezing frames from old interviews. People noticed how often Aaron had deflected personal questions. How carefully he spoke about boundaries. How frequently Teyana had answered for both of them. What once looked playful now looked structured. Rehearsed. Aligned. Then came the next leak. A cropped image of what appeared to be a shared calendar invite. The title, Narrative Alignment. The attendees, redacted. The location, private. But one line in the description was still visible. Contingency plan if he withdraws. Withdraws. Not breaks up. Withdraws. That word hit harder than any insult. Because it framed Aaron not as a partner, but as a component. As social media erupted, one viral clip from an old red carpet resurfaced where a reporter asked Aaron how he balanced privacy with being in such a public relationship. At the time, he laughed nervously. Now, people noticed something else. Teyana squeezed his arm before he answered. Not affectionately. Interrupting. Controlling the moment. In the leaked audio, Aaron addresses that moment directly. He says, "I wasn't allowed to answer freely anymore." He doesn't accuse. He explains. He says decisions were being discussed without him. Appearances scheduled without checking. Messages drafted that he was told to approve, not write. And then he says the sentence that made even longtime fans go silent. "I didn't recognize the version of myself people were selling." By the time the recording reaches its final third, his voice is no longer steady. He describes a confrontation. Not explosive. Not dramatic. Quiet. Private. He says it happened in a hotel room after an industry dinner. He says the conversation started calmly. Then shifted. He asked if the situation had gone too far. He asked who else was involved. And according to him, that's when Teyana finally stopped deflecting. The next words, he says, were spoken without anger. Almost gently. "You don't understand how much is riding on this." He says he replied, "On us." And the answer changed everything. "No. On you." The way he repeats that line in the recording is slow. As if he still can't believe it. As if the meaning took time to land. Moments after that audio surfaced, a separate anonymous tip landed in multiple inboxes, claiming there was a second, longer recording from the same night. One that hasn't leaked yet. One that allegedly captures what happened after Aaron stood up to leave. The source claims the file contains a voice raising slightly, a door closing, and one sentence that no one expected. "If you walk out like this, you're choosing consequences." Aaron never says in the leaked clip whether those words came from Teyana or someone else. He only says one thing before the audio cuts. "I didn't disappear. I protected myself." And then the file ends. No explanation. No outro. Just silence. But less than 10 minutes after the audio stopped circulating privately, a brand new burner account posted a single message beneath a blurred image of a hotel hallway. He hasn't heard the worst recording yet. The second leak didn't come from Aaron's side at all. It came from a completely different orbit. A voice that industry veterans already knew how to fear. Because just after midnight, while the first recording was still being ripped apart frame by frame online, a private live stream link began circulating inside closed celebrity Discord rooms and PR group chats. No promo. No countdown. No headline. Just a subject line that read, "I'm done protecting monsters." The woman who appeared on screen was Jaguar Wright. And the moment her face loaded, the entire tone of the scandal changed. She didn't smile. She didn't greet the audience. She stared straight into the camera and said one sentence that detonated everything Aaron had just implied. "This isn't a breakup story. This is an extraction." That word. Extraction. Within seconds, screen recordings of the live stream were flying across private Telegram channels, and insiders say at least 3 major gossip accounts were warned not to repost it. Not asked. Warned. Jaguar didn't hesitate. She said she had been contacted weeks ago by someone connected to a younger male actor, who was trying to pull himself out of a situation that had already gone corporate. She never said Aaron's name. She didn't have to. She said the situation reminded her of something she had seen before. Over and over again. Talents being paired. Narratives being constructed. Personal relationships being turned into financial assets. Then she leaned forward and dropped the sentence that made even hardened industry insiders stop typing. Once a relationship is signed into strategy, you don't leave it like a human. You leave it like a liability. The chat exploded. People started tagging Teyana immediately. But Jaguar raised her hand. No. Don't simplify it. She's not the top of this ladder. That line alone cracked open a much darker layer of the story. Because until that moment, the internet had been framing everything as an emotional fallout between two celebrities. But Jaguar reframed it as infrastructure. She said there are public faces. And there are private handlers. She said there are artists. And there are protectors of investments. And she made one detail painfully clear. This machine doesn't belong to any one star. Then she claimed something that would immediately be labeled dangerous by industry PR. She said the meeting Aaron described wasn't unique. It followed a template. A legal presence. A communications strategist. A relationship alignment rep. And a silent observer whose job is to take notes, not participate. When someone in the chat asked if she had proof, Jaguar didn't argue. She smiled once. And said, "You don't show proof until you know who's watching." That live stream only lasted 11 minutes. But in those 11 minutes, she dropped a line that would completely recontextualize the alleged threat heard at the end of Aaron's recording. "If you leave without permission," she said, "they don't punish you publicly first. They isolate you privately." Almost immediately after the stream ended, a new anonymous account began replying to anyone who reposted the clip. Every reply was identical. This content violates contractual interference standards. Not copyright. Not defamation. Interference. Fans noticed. And so did entertainment lawyers. Because that phrase doesn't come from social media moderation teams. It comes from internal corporate language. Then came the next leak. A short email screenshot. Timestamped 3 weeks before the alleged hotel confrontation. The subject line, Reputational Risk Review Personal Association. The recipient name was blurred. But the CC list was long. And one line inside the body of the email froze people mid-scroll. If the male party becomes unpredictable, we activate narrative insulation immediately. Narrative insulation. Within minutes, Twitter turned into open warfare. Some fans defended Teyana aggressively, claiming she was being used as a distraction. From deeper power players. Others accused her of knowing more than she ever admitted. A few of her longtime collaborators quietly unfollowed Aaron's accounts. Not publicly, but digitally. And fans track that. They always do. Then, a verified celebrity stylist posted a cryptic Instagram story. Just black text on white. "I've watched people cry in glam chairs, because they realized their love contract expired before their real one." No names. But the timing made the message feel surgical. And then something far more disturbing happened. A former assistant, using a locked account, dropped a thread that stayed live for only 9 minutes. But screenshots are forever. She claimed she had been present during at least one alignment meeting involving Teyana's brand team. She said the conversation was not about romance. It was about optics after an upcoming creative pivot. She wrote that one male partner had been flagged as unstable in trajectory. Not emotionally unstable. Professionally unstable. She alleged that his independent career decisions didn't fit the long-term partnership architecture. Her words. Architecture. She ended the thread with a sentence that sent shockwaves through both fandoms. He wasn't failing them. He was outgrowing the story they sold. While fans were still digesting that, Jaguar quietly reposted a single clip from her earlier live stream. Just 5 seconds. Just her eyes and one line. Some exits aren't allowed because too many lies depend on you staying. But the real escalation came less than an hour later. A new audio file appeared. Not the long recording the burner account had teased. A different one. Short. Only 24 seconds. And unmistakably Teyana's voice. Not screaming. Not emotional. Controlled. Low. The clip allegedly captures her speaking to someone on speakerphone. You can't scare him into silence and call it protection, she says. There's a pause. Then another voice responds. Distorted. But firm. We're not protecting him. We're protecting what he represents. That line hit harder than any threat. Because it suggested the person on the other end didn't even view Aaron as a person. Only positioning. And then Teyana says something that split her fanbase down the middle. You promised me this wouldn't get ugly. The other voice replies instantly. It only gets ugly when people stop cooperating. The clip ends there. No context. No date. No visual. Just sound. Within minutes, hashtags started flipping. Not against Aaron. Not fully against Teyana. But against the invisible system Jaguar had just exposed. Entertainment reporters tried to get statements. Every single request was declined. But something far more telling happened behind the scenes. According to two separate PR insiders, emergency calls were scheduled between multiple agencies that had nothing to do with either star's representation. Unrelated firms. Shared clients. Shared concerns. Because once Jaguar put the word extraction into the public bloodstream, the narrative became much harder to control. Then came the detail that terrified even neutral observers. A private message began circulating between mid-level industry staffers. The sender name was hidden. But the instruction was clear. Do not engage with Jaguar write content under any circumstances. Not legally advised. Not discouraged. Do not engage. As if silence itself had become a defensive strategy. At the same time, a fan unearthed a now archived interview from months earlier where Teyana had joked about being exhausted from managing too many moving parts. At the time, it sounded playful. Now it sounded operational. And buried inside the chaos, Aaron's burner account, the one that had first teased the longer recording, finally posted again. One sentence. No one told her what they told me. That line shattered the remaining certainty people still had. Because if that was true, then Teyana wasn't just part of the machine. She might have been managed by it too. And Jaguar seemed to confirm that theory without ever naming her. During a quick Instagram live that lasted barely 60 seconds before cutting out, she said, "Sometimes the loudest woman in the room is still not the one holding the door." The internet exploded with speculation. Who was holding it? Who was watching the exits? Who had the authority to decide when someone stopped being useful? But the most chilling development didn't come from fans. It came from inside Aaron's circle. A trusted industry reporter quietly confirmed receiving a private message claiming that the longer hotel room recording does exist. And that it is far worse than the first.
We got to behave.
Because according to the source, it doesn't just include a warning. It includes a name. A real one. A person powerful enough that, if spoken publicly, would instantly collapse the entire, just celebrity drama narrative. The reporter refused to publish it. But they did tweet one thing. If this audio drops, it won't hurt a relationship. It will expose a network. Minutes later, the same burner account that had started everything posted again. This time with a black screen. White text. And a timestamp. Tomorrow. 11:17 p.m. Underneath it, one final line appeared. That's when you hear who really gave the order. By the time the clock hit 11:17 p.m., the internet was a live wire. Fans, sleuths, and entertainment insiders were glued to every possible channel, every private DM, every forgotten post, all waiting for the next piece of this exploding puzzle. And then it dropped. A file so shocking that people in Hollywood allegedly screamed in private group chats when they listened. The audio opens with Pierre's voice, calm but heavy, almost resigned. The words he utters immediately paint a portrait of manipulation, power, and betrayal that no one outside the inner circle was prepared to hear. He describes a night so calculated, so meticulously orchestrated, it sounds more like a corporate operation than a relationship. Aaron reveals the identities of people who were supposedly neutral, the invisible forces in the room at that fateful Atlanta dinner, and one individual whose name alone can reportedly make people in Teyana's camp freeze. He doesn't scream. He doesn't cry. But every word drips with the tension of someone who realized too late how deep the web had been woven around him. And then he says something that immediately triggered chaos across social media. They weren't protecting her. They were protecting the story, and I was a liability. Boom. Within minutes, fan theories erupted. People dug through old appearances, interviews, Instagram lives, even past music videos, trying to connect the dots. Screenshots emerged of Teyana seemingly in positions of control in public events where Aaron appeared hesitant or restrained. A now viral TikTok stitched multiple appearances together, highlighting moments where Aaron's demeanor seemed tense, guarded, almost rehearsed. But the real bombshell comes next. Aaron claims that Teyana had access to private communications he thought were confidential, texts, emails, even personal voice memos. He allegedly discovered that messages he thought had been deleted were secretly forwarded to others in her team. And when he confronted her, according to Aaron, she leaned back, smiled, and said one line that would chill any bystander: "You've always been seen. That's enough for me." Fans immediately interpreted it as sinister. Was it a playful tease? Or was it a declaration of control? The leaked audio makes it impossible to tell, and that ambiguity sent Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok into full meltdown mode. #Team Aaron and #Team Teyana battles erupted with unprecedented intensity. One viral thread detailed Aaron's alleged attempts to seek counsel from friends and mentors, only to find that even some of them were being monitored or influenced by outside forces. Then came the unthinkable leak. A partial screen recording of a FaceTime call between Aaron and someone identified only as a mutual associate. Teyana is not on the call, yet her influence permeates every word. Aaron asks questions, seeks clarity, and the other voice repeatedly warns him, "You can't tell the story you think you can. Too many people are counting on you staying quiet." The tone was chilling. Listeners described it as the first time the drama transcended romance and became something resembling psychological warfare. And just when it seemed it couldn't escalate further, screenshots of alleged DMs surfaced. Aaron supposedly messaging a fellow actor, "She's not just controlling the narrative. She's orchestrating the entire stage. Every interaction, every post, every smile, engineered." The public outcry was instantaneous. Fans combed through years of content for patterns, any hint of premeditation. Meanwhile, Teyana's team was allegedly sending takedown notices and scrambling PR responses, but by now, the leaks were everywhere. One insider said it was like trying to hold back a tsunami with a paper towel. But here's where the story goes truly dark. A whistleblower claimed to have obtained a video recording from the infamous Atlanta night. Aaron reportedly hands the camera to a trusted assistant, showing a conversation between him, Teyana, and the unseen handler he referenced. The clip allegedly reveals threats disguised as guidance, pressures cloaked as care, and a calm, almost corporate dissection of his behavior throughout the evening. Aaron describes the moment he realized the relationship was no longer personal. He allegedly says, "I wasn't loved. I was packaged." Boom. That single sentence ignited forums and comment sections worldwide. Analysts, casual fans, and conspiracy sleuths all agreed this was no longer just celebrity drama. This was control, manipulation, and power exposed in real time. Fans dug further. Hidden messages in old Instagram captions, cryptic tweets from months prior, subtle emojis, all reinterpreted as signals of influence, surveillance, and silent orchestration. Every previously innocent post by Teyana suddenly seemed like a coded message, and Aaron's disappearing posts were now interpreted as acts of quiet rebellion. Then came the ultimate bombshell. Jaguar Wright re-emerged in another live stream, allegedly after consulting insiders, and said the most terrifying words yet: "What they do in public is the least of it." The real control. The things you don't see, the people you never meet, the exits they block, that's the real game. Fans gasped. The live stream clip was only 37 seconds, but it spread like wildfire. Within hours, thousands of users on multiple platforms were speculating about who the hidden powers were. Some suggested Teyana was acting independently, others argued she was a pawn herself. And the internet erupted with wild theories, naming agents, PR managers, and even executives as potential players in this silent war. Aaron himself remains largely silent. He has released a single statement confirming the leaks are real, claiming he is seeking legal counsel and prioritizing safety. Teyana's team has denied allegations of manipulation, but has not addressed the leaked recordings directly. The silent tension only fuels the speculation, making the public feel like they are witnessing a live unraveling of a Hollywood conspiracy. By the end of the third leak, every angle seemed covered: audio recordings, alleged FaceTime leaks, screenshots, DM exposures, insider accounts, cryptic live streams. Every revelation pointed to one uncomfortable truth: the story between Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor was never just about love. It was a calculated operation involving unseen hands, a narrative constructed, controlled, and weaponized. And now, as the chaos continues to ripple through social media and Hollywood insiders whisper in fear, one chilling question remains: who holds the final authority in this web? Who truly orchestrated the events behind the camera, and will the remaining recordings ever surface to reveal the ultimate puppet master? Because if the leaks are any indication, the drama has only just begun, and the endgame could reshape Hollywood as we know it. The internet is watching. The industry is waiting. And Aaron Pierre's next move could either bring full revelation, or silence him forever. You've seen it